Hello friends, and welcome back to the Nathaniel Spanraft Show. Today is a special day indeed, my friends. We're doing an actual edition of the show. Real fans will know that even throughout the past year, 2 years even, I've been more on a skit narrative. Today, that changes, as I'm going classic. So let's begin. Today, I'm going to be talking about some short stories written by American authors and their connections to each other through an unconventional bridge: art. The two stories we're going to be analyzing are The Lives of the Dead by Tim O'Brien and Cathedral by Raymond Carver. Allow me to explain why these stories are so powerful and what they can teach us, years later, still about connection. In The Lives of the Dead, Tim O'Brien shows us how storytelling and writing can preserve memories and keep the dead alive in our hearts. The narrator tells vivid stories about his friend Linda, who died young. He states, "I could see her face clearly in my mind. Her eyes were open and very blue. She looked at me and smiled." Through these stories, Linda isn't just a memory. She's present, real, and alive in a way that transcends time and space. It's through storytelling that the narrator bridges the gap between life and death. Words become a vessel for love, loss, and healing, things too deep for ordinary conversation to hold. Next, let's look at Raymond Carver's Cathedral. Here, art takes a different form, that being drawing. The narrator, who's initially uncomfortable with another character named Robert, he's blind and a friend of his wife, who have been in touch with each other for years before the couple even met. The two find themselves in an uncomfortable situation that gets resolved by art. As they watch TV together, a segment about cathedrals comes on. Robert asks the narrator to describe what a cathedral looks like, being that he's never seen one himself. The narrator then has an epiphany. He doesn't really pay attention to the things going on in his life that don't directly involve him. He realizes that he can't explain what a cathedral's like. He can't talk about what he does or what he sees because he doesn't pay attention to it. He only pays attention to how things are affecting him, like the previous conversations between Robert and his wife. The narrator tries his best, despite the fact, to describe what a cathedral looks like to Robert, but it just doesn't work. Robert then has an idea. Why not draw one together? So, the two join hands and begin tracing out on a piece of paper a cathedral. As they draw the cathedral together, Robert says, "Go ahead, draw, keep drawing." It's a simple phrase, but it changes everything. In that moment, their differences fade. The narrator begins to see the world through Robert's perspective, and he understands something new about himself. The act of drawing becomes a shared experience, breaking down the walls that words couldn't touch. Now, what's amazing about these stories, to me, is how they show us the limits of spoken words. Sometimes we just can't say what we feel. Grief, love, understanding. These things can be so big, so complex, that words alone simply just fall short. But in these stories, that's where storytelling and drawing came in to fix that. They allow characters to express the somewhat inexpressible, to invite others into their world in ways that simple conversation just never could. In the lives of the dead, storytelling keeps memories alive. It reminds us of the enduring nature of love. As O'Brien writes, stories can save us. In Cathedral, drawing bridges gaps between people, showing us how art can unite and transform. Ultimately, these stories teach us that art is more than just a tool for expression. It's a way to connect, to empathize, and to understand each other on a deeper level. All in all, the next time you find words failing you, try picking up a pen, a pencil, or even just your imagination. Because who knows, you might just discover a new way to connect.